Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the Minnesota Vikings and the big game that's just hours away. It's a showdown for the #1 seed, home playoff games, and everything on the line. The Detroit Lions are taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and let me tell you, this is shaping up to be the game of the year. The Vikings have been on fire, winning 9 straight games and sitting at an incredible 14-2. It's wild to think one of these teams might not get a home playoff game. Minnesota's stats this season are impressive. 9th in scoring, with 26.4 points per game. 4th in scoring defense, allowing just 18.8 points per game. 3rd in sacks. 1st in takeaways, averaging 1.9 per game. But even with all this, there's still one thing missing: Aaron Jones. Now, I'm not going to spend the whole video talking about Aaron Jones, but hear me out. As a Packers fan, yes, I know I mention this all the time, I have a special appreciation for Jones. When these teams first met, Jones ran 14 times for 93 yards and a touchdown, averaging a solid 6.6 yards per carry, despite the Vikings not having T.J. Hawkinson in that game. Last year, Jones battled through hamstring injuries, but still delivered some big performances for the Packers in the final stretch of the season. Just look at these numbers: 21 carries, 127 yards. 20 carries, 120 yards against Minnesota on New Year's Eve. 22 carries, 111 yards against Chicago. 21 carries, 118 yards, and 3 touchdowns against Dallas. Even against tough teams like San Francisco, he put up great stats. That's why I was stunned when, in a recent game against the Packers, Jones only got 12 carries. It made no sense. Anyway, back to the Vikings. There's so much to unpack here. If you enjoy NFL content and love talking Vikings football, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for daily updates. Shout out to B for sponsoring this video. More on that later. Let's get into it. When you think of the Minnesota Vikings, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Let's talk about one of the most incredible comeback stories of the year, Sam Darnold. The guy has been phenomenal this season. He's currently 3rd in passing yards with nearly 4,200 yards and 5th in passer rating. His touchdown-to-interception ratio? A thing of beauty. 35 touchdowns to just 12 interceptions. Sam Darnold has been an absolute superstar. It's funny, though. While Darnold is lighting it up, the NFL media isn't really talking about the Vikings winning the Super Bowl. Instead, they're obsessing over things like, are they going to trade J.J. McCarthy? Or will they stick with Sam Darnold long-term? And then there's all this noise about Darnold's next contract. His annual salary is expected to hit $50 million. Yes, it's now starting with a 5. People are asking, should Minnesota move forward with Darnold or trade J.J. McCarthy for a first-round pick? Honestly, it's laughable. The Vikings are in a position of power right now, and their focus is exactly where it should be, on Week 18. This game is huge, but let's not overreact. Even if Minnesota loses, their season isn't over. They're still Super Bowl contenders. But let's be real, nobody wants to lose this one. Before we dive back into the action, let me quickly shout out our sponsor, BetUs. They've got some amazing odds for the Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC Conference, currently plus 350, which is wild for a team that's 14-2. And if you're new to BetUs, they're offering some fantastic bonuses. 150% bonus on your first deposit. 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits. Just use the code YouTube150. Now back to the Vikings. Here's the deal. If Minnesota locks in the #1 seed, they'll get a first-round bye and 2 home playoff games. That's a massive advantage compared to facing 3 tough road games against teams like Detroit, Dallas, Philadelphia, or Tampa Bay. If they secure the top spot, they'll be favorites to make it to the Super Bowl. Of course, everyone's talking about Sam Darnold's amazing season, and rightfully so. But let's not forget the other stars on this team: Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor. They're all threats. Honestly, I don't see how Detroit's defense can handle this group. I'm particularly watching T.J. Hawkinson in this game. He's already an established star in the NFL, but this could be a breakout performance that takes him to the next level. Let's talk about Detroit for a moment. Their defense is in rough shape right now. Alex Anzalone, one of their key players, is a game-time decision. Depending on when you're watching this, you might already know if he's playing. Their linebacker room in particular is seriously banged up. Despite these challenges, Detroit's offense has been firing on all cylinders. They're averaging a ton of points per game, but here's the flip side. They've given up 30-plus points in each of their last 5 games. This matchup could turn into an absolute shootout. Honestly, 30 points might not be enough. It could take 35 or more to win. Let's not forget, though, Detroit's defense did manage a touchdown in their earlier matchup with Minnesota this season. Defense will play a huge role in this game. While Detroit is at home, Minnesota's defense is stronger overall, which could make the difference. Here's a crazy stat. The Lions have scored 50-plus points more times this year than they've been held below 20 points. That's how explosive their offense is. Over the last month, they've averaged an incredible 38 points per game. It's hard to predict who's going to win this game. It might honestly come down to the flip of a coin. Detroit's offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, is bound to pull off something creative, and we might see a few surprises from KC as well. This game is set to be an absolute thriller, packed with talent and high-scoring plays. And of course, there's Aaron Jones, still putting up solid numbers this season. 245 carries, 1,093 yards, 5 touchdowns. That said, his usage has been puzzling at times. For example, he had just 12 carries in the revenge game against the Green Bay Packers, which felt odd. That's why I wanted to highlight how vital he was to the Packers' success late last season. Jones helped Green Bay make the playoffs by stepping up in crucial games against teams like the Bears, Panthers, and even Minnesota, who had an injured quarterback room at the time. Sure, he's had his ups and downs this season, including some fumble issues, but he's back, focused, and playing with energy. A dynamic player like him can make all the difference, especially in a high-stakes game like this. Keep an eye on Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson in this game. They could both have standout performances against the Lions. I know this video might feel like a bit of a ramble, but I really wanted to get a Vikings-focused video out today. With all the Lions content I've been making lately, it's only fair to give the Vikings some hype too. Honestly, the wait for this game feels endless. It's Sunday Night Football, it's prime time, and it's what we've all been waiting for, the game of the year. This matchup is going to be absolutely electric. Before you go, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And here's the fun part. Drop your score prediction for tomorrow night's game in the comments below. I can't wait to see what you all think. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you soon for more football content.